The photographer we chose to do our project on is Eddie Adams. He was born June 12, 1933, in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. Adams was an American photographer and photojournalist. He began his photography career in his teenage years, working on the photography staff of his high school newspaper and also as a wedding photographer. After high school, he joined the U.S. Marine Corps. Adams is notable for taking portraits of politicians, celebrities, and covering over 13 wars. He later on created a documentary called An Unlikely Weapon that won numerous amounts of awards.
He has been credible for his work and won over 500 awards throughout his career. What made Eddie Adams such a prominent photographer was the fact that he did not want to capture people and items. Instead, he always wanted to capture emotions. He was an instant vision photographer like Henri Cartier-Bresson because he always captured the emotional power of a picture in a second. He later on died of Lou Gehrig's disease, which is when the nerve cells progressively break down and the person dies. His wife, Alyssa Adams, donated his work to the Dolph Briscoe Center for American History at the University of Texas in Austin. All in all, Eddie Adams was a remarkable photographer and inspired many photographers. Eddie Adams was a combat photographer and a photojournalist and had the opportunity to work for the Associated Press and took pictures at the Vietnam War. It was at the Vietnam War where he took his most famous picture of Police Chief General Nguyen Ngoc Loan executing a Viet Cong prisoner, Nguyen Van Lam, on Saigon Street on February 1st, 1968, during the Tet Offensive. It was a silver print image that was printed in the 1980s. This photograph later received a Pulitzer Prize for spot news photography in 1969. It emphasized on intimate storytelling and portrayed instant vision because he captured a picture in a split second and also captured the emotional intensity of the gun being pointed to the Viet Cong prisoner's head. Even though he became famous for that picture, because it caught the eye of so many Americans and the reality of what was happening in the Vietnam War, he regretted it. Adams later apologized in an interview stating, "The general killed the Viet Cong, I killed the general with my camera. Still, photographs are the most powerful weapon in the world. People believe them, but photographs do." Lie, even without manipulation. There are only half-truths. What the photograph didn't say was, what would you do if you were the general at the time and place on that hot day and you caught the so-called bad guy after he blew away 1, 2, or 3 American. This picture really messed up his life. He never blamed me. He told me if I hadn't taken the picture, someone else would have. But I felt so bad for him and his family for a long time. I sent flowers when I heard that he had died and wrote, "I'm sorry, there are tears in my eyes." Adams later apologized in person to General Nguyen and his family for the permanent damage he did to the general's honor while he was still alive. When Nguyen died, Adam praised him as a hero of a just cause. The photo I chose to speak about is one Adams took
during the time of the Vietnam War. The title of the photo is Marine Crossfire, Vietnam, taken by Adams in 1965. The medium of the photo is archival Epson print. In this photo, you can see the fear and agony that is being shown by the people in the photo. In the front, there is a Vietnamese woman who looks very distraught. This woman is carrying her child in her arms and has a very fearful and worried expression on her face. Behind her, there is a man hovering over a little boy who could possibly be his son. You can see that he is trying to protect the little boy from something or maybe someone. We can assume that this group is possibly a family trying to get to shelter or trying to escape. As you go to the back of the photograph, we can see two soldiers behind the family. The soldiers are carrying their weapons and look as if they are going around gathering people from all over the village. At a first glance of this photo, one can tell that it contains a lot of emotion. This photograph depicts what Adams' view on the Vietnam War could have really been about. How it was a very devastating event for everyone who was in Vietnam at that time. As if he was trying to show what war can do to people, to families, and how terrifying war really is. You can just sense the fear, the pain, and the sadness of the people in the picture. When I saw the picture, I thought it could very well relate to the category of pictures called social document. It relates to the category of social documents because it is clearly visible in the photos of how saddening that time period was and how change was needed. This photo was just one of the many that added to making Adams a well-known photographer.